Welcome to World Travel Made Easy with Itinerary Boss, the podcast for busy professionals who want to plan unforgettable trips without the stress. If you're craving adventure, relaxation, or cultural immersion, but feel overwhelmed where to start, this is the show for you. Each week, we dive into travel tips, expert strategies, and actionable advice to help you save time, money, and hassle while helping you design your dream trip. From group getaways to romantic escapes to adventure packed journeys and budget friendly tips, we cover it all. I'm Ross, your host and travel enthusiast, with over a decade of experience balancing a demanding career while also planning trips to over 25 cities in Europe, all over the US, Central America, the Caribbean, and beyond. I've mastered the art of stress free planning, and I'm here to help you do the same. If you love what you hear, don't forget to follow the show, leave us a review, as well as share it with a fellow traveler. I want to make your next adventure the easiest and most memorable yet. Now, on with the show. Welcome back to another episode of World Travel Made Easy with Itinerary Boss. I'm excited to dive in to our episode just around which credit card is right for you and a beginner's guide. We're going to be building off of last week's episode around why are credit cards game changers? And for today, I want to dive into breaking it down into categories, right? When you look at credit cards, you probably think, which one is right for me? I'm just getting started, or maybe I have one and I want to figure out how I can maximize points and miles, or just get something that's best going to fit my lifestyle. And that's the goal here is we want to show you that not all travel cards are created equal, and the best one just depends on where you spend your money, what your personal goals are. And our goal is to help you confidently pick your next card, just based off your lifestyle, in this episode. And like we had mentioned in previous episodes, we do offer one-on-one free consultations to give you personalized guidance if you don't feel that this episode is enough. But we want to go ahead and break down the different cards into buckets. So you're going to have, just at a high level, you'll have your starter cards, you'll have your first travel cards, your top travel cards, and then who are for frequent travelers, and then your everyday spend and lifestyle cards. So I'm going to dive in and I am going to share my screen because I think that'll make it easier for you. But first, we're going to get started with some of your starter cards. So when you think about starter cards, it's always good to go for ones with no annual fees because that helps you, start to learn a little bit more about credit cards. It helps you, dip your toes in. It's great for building credit if you haven't had a credit card yet, and you start to learn, right, the small spend helps start to build up, whether that's cash back or points and miles. This is one of my favorite starter cards. The reason why is, you get that bonus, that welcome offer, when you spend a small amount within the first 3 months. So, like on our previous episode, we talked about, right, if you, only are spending a little bit of money on gas, groceries, maybe some bills, this is great for starting to build up credit. So this is a really good one that I always recommend. So those are some of our favorites. If you start to go into others, you can start to look at ones like this. This is a little bit higher of a spend, but it's good to start to look into some of these. If you want to look into starter ones, here are some other ones that are good to look into just because, you're spending small amounts for some of those earlier welcome offers. And I think there's some other ones too. This is another good one, the Freedom Flex. So those are some good starter cards that I like to recommend. Different perks are around cash back. There's sometimes rotating categories, so it could be different. And that's where our website provides, more detail around read our take, right? It's going to give you more detail on specifics. So let's just say, for example, you went into one of these. This is the one I recommend. You then could see this. It gives you, 5% cash back on those things. Also, some other things like restaurants, takeout, delivery, groceries. So, and then also there's some comparisons. So this is this is really helpful when you want to go in and look. So taking a look at those is a great way to get started from a starter card standpoint. First travel cards. This is really when you start to dip your toes in. I got my starter card in 2014, and then I got my first real travel card in 2017. And I started out with the Capital One Venture rewards card. So this is great when you really want to start earning points and miles. So different perks for these are going to be those larger welcome offers. You have flexible points transfers, as well as travel protections. And these really start to open the door for free flights, hotels, and if you grab our points and miles cheat sheet that we offer for free on our website as well as in the show notes, you'll start to learn the capabilities of, say, for example, you earned the $75,000 welcome bonus in Capital One miles. Then how do you transfer that to then start to use that for hotels and flights? We break that down in that cheat sheet, and we'll be doing that in future episodes. So, a couple of my favorite ones for first travel cards are going to be these Capital One ones. You can compare these. You might see this high annual fee, but if you listen to our former episode, we talk about, different perks like lounge access, TSA pre-check, global entry paid for. There's some other perks. So you can look at these. These are two really good ones that I really like. Some other ones are going to be come up to our personal favorites. So this one is great. It actually has, at the time of recording, one of the best welcome offers we've seen. This is going to be good for travel if, and we'll get into this, but this is going to be a really good lifestyle card if you like dining, groceries. So those are a couple that we recommend for first travel cards. When you start to get into being more of a frequent traveler, so if you travel, multiple times a year, right, you're wanting to unlock as much points and miles as possible. You want that lounge access, you want global entry, you want TSA pre-check, hotel elite status, and many more rewards. That's when we start to get into ones that have a higher annual fee. So I know we talked about the Capital One Venture X rewards card. That's a good one. These are good. These are going to be good first travel cards, but also can be top travel cards. And you can compare what those look like. You also have, if you start to spend more and more, this is going to have a higher fee, but it has really good perks. So you have the platinum, and then other ones would be the ones that we had talked about, which would be this. I actually have this one. It's great for having the priority pass lounge access. It's also good for getting specific lounge access. You also get a $300 annual travel credit. You also get 10 times the points on Lyft. You can then transfer some of those points. And if you have this card, or say you have this card and you also have this card or this card, you actually can turn these cash back points into miles and points and can then start to transfer those over. So one thing to keep in mind. So those are probably the top travel cards for frequent travelers. They do have those higher annual fees, but again, if you're worried about that, we have those one-on-one consultations, but also you can see here's where you start to get a lot of the value of you're earning those points. You also get, right, here is some of the reasons how it makes it more manageable. So the fee is worth it, but that's where we come in. If you have some of those hesitations prior to looking into those, that's where we really can help you and guide you through that. And lastly, the everyday lifestyle cards. If you're spending most of your money on groceries, dining out, gas, things like that. The Amex, the American Express Gold Card, up at our top favorites is going to be one because you're getting 4 times the points on those. So that's a great one for families. That's a great one for people who like to spend a lot more on groceries. And you can optimize, those different rewards for your habits. So those are a couple. And then, right, if you're traveling a lot for work, you were then going to have different co-branded cards. So you have your if you're flying out of a hub like, say, for example, Atlanta, you're going to have your different Delta ones, your Hilton, your Marriott. You're also going to have, if you come down to, and the different different banks have different cards. So looking into those, that's where a one-on-one consultation comes into play and really helps. But you also have United, you have Hyatt. We have this one. This is great. It earns you 9 times the points when you stay with there, and also a good welcome offer. Also have this one had a great offer at one point where we were able to get 5 free nights. So taking a look that, and yes, you might have an annual fee, but you also get 26 times the points on each dollar spent. So it helps you also get status. So things that we were talking about where the perks outweigh the annual fees, but those are just a couple. And you also have some of the co-branded cards, Southwest, if you're flying there, if you fly that a lot. So that's, that is where the website comes into play, where you can browse and then we can help you, figure out what's best for you. And then business cards. If you have a business, if you're starting a business, this is where you also can earn points and, get a card that you then can transfer those points or have those points and combine that. So if you like to travel personally, or you have personal cards and you have a business and you want to optimize, this is just another great way to use these. So hopefully this has been really helpful. It just, in mapping this out, really depends on your personal goals and strategy. Thinking about, do you want to travel next year? Where do you want to travel? Are you staying in specific hotels? Personally, work, do you have an upcoming event where you're having to stay, at a hotel? Maybe you're going to a wedding that you have to stay at a Hyatt. Maybe you're going to one with a Marriott or Hilton or wherever that may be. Thinking through those things, as well as, if you fly somewhere a lot for work, if you're paying for work travel on your personal card, right? That's a great way to optimize points and miles. And then, just thinking about how much you spend currently monthly on those specific things is really important, as well as, do you want cash back or do you want points, airline miles? So I think the biggest takeaway is start small, right? Start with one card, learn the system, then continue to add if you want, or continue just to follow us to understand tips and tricks to maximize your daily spend, your daily earnings. And that's really where we're going to plan to help. And just getting started, applying for the different rewards programs on those sites, Hilton, Marriott, IHG, Hyatt, the big ones. And then for airlines, thinking about, if you're in Charlotte, you have American. If you're in Atlanta, you have Delta. If you're in DC, Dulles, you have United, Baltimore, BWI, so on and so forth. Just going up the East Coast, thinking about the hubs that you're at. But that's really the best way to get started. And then from there, you'll continue to learn from experts like myself who have these solo tutorials that we walk you through, as well as from different expert guest interviews that we have on the show, and just from all the different content we put out. So if you're ready to take the next step, go ahead and check out the points and miles cheat sheet that is within the show notes. You also can take a look at it on our website if you want to browse more. And if you go to our website and just click on the credit cards page, that's where you'll find all the different breakdowns of the cards. And then once you look a little bit more, if you have specific questions, drop them in the Spotify or YouTube comments, or just go ahead and book a one-on-one free consultation where we really can help walk you through, which card is going to be best for you. But really appreciate everyone tuning in. Again, make sure you subscribe, follow us wherever you get your podcasts. That way you aren't missing any episodes each week. And if you think it deserves a 5-star review, make sure that you give it one. That way, that's the way we reach more people who are looking to start to save more money traveling, make it more affordable, more attainable, and appreciate everyone's help and support. If you have anything, always just drop us a comment, DM, and you know where to find us. Until next week, we look forward to seeing you.